To replace the winder unit on a Riviera version 2, these are the tools that you need. A set of pliers, vice grips, Phillips screwdriver, 4mm Allen key, and a 3mm Allen key. The 3mm Allen key needs to have a head that's no wider than 10mm. The only other tool that you will require is a 2.7 metre long pole that is slightly shorter than the length of the mast. The first step is to use the 4mm Allen key to remove the bolts that connect to the winder unit. There's 2 bolts on either side of the umbrella. Yeah. Before you flip the umbrella over, make sure that the surface is clean so that there won't be any scratches on the mast. And once you've flipped it over, remove the other 2 bolts on the other side using the same 4mm Allen key. The winder unit is now disconnected from the mast and it can slide up and down the cavity. The second step is to use a Phillips screwdriver to remove the 2 screws that hold on the mast cap. The third step is to use the long pole to push the winder unit to the top of the mast. For the fourth step, you're going to need your vice grips and you're going to need the 3mm Allen key. First, you'll pull up the slack of the rope. Once you've got a bit of slack out, you're going to grab the double swivel pulleys, and if you look inside, there is a nut on a bolt that can rotate. So what we want to do is clamp that nut so that we're able to remove the bolt. So that's what the vice grips are for. You want to use vice grips to slightly clamp down on that nut so that it can't spin around inside the cavity. Next, you take the Allen key and you insert it into the bolt, and then you rotate counterclockwise. I recommend rotating the side with the rope, because if you rotate the side with the wire, it could tangle the wire. Step number 5 is to use the pliers to hold open the lift-off pin. So pull out the lift-off pin, wedge the pliers in place. Alternatively, you can have a second person hold the lift-off pin open. After that, you can remove the pole from the bottom of the mast and insert it into the top of the mast, pushing the winder unit out the bottom. Be careful when you're doing this not to push the winder unit out of the mast and then it will drop on the ground. So this is the faulty part that you'll be replacing. For step number 6, you'll take your new winder unit and you'll take your winder. I want you to unwind it so that all the rope is off of the spool. After that, you remove the pole from the bottom of the mast and insert all the excess rope into the bottom of the mast. When you insert the winder unit into the bottom of the mast, you need to make sure that the slot for the winder handle is on the same side as the hole for the winder handle, as opposed to the underside. Then you simply use the pole to push it right to the top of the mast. And last of all, you remove the pliers. For step number 7, you remove the excess rope from the top of the mast. After that, you take the small nut that's inside the double swivel pulley, you insert it back into place, and you use the vice grips to clamp it into position. After that, you need to connect the 2 pulleys again using the 4mm Allen key. This can be quite tricky. For step number 8, we need to push the winder unit down the mast, and we want it to stop at the correct position by the winder handle. If you're working by yourself, I recommend you use a screwdriver, insert it in the bottom hole so that the winder unit will stop almost in the correct position. If you have a second person, you can just get them to tell you when it's in place. Next, you want to remove the hole from the bottom of the mast, insert it in the top of the mast, and gently push the winder unit until it touches the screwdriver. After this, you want to remove the screwdriver and gently push the winder unit until the bolts line up. For step 9, you simply want to put the 4 bolts back into the winder unit, and you want to put the mast cap back on the top of the mast. Just make sure that the winder unit is centered. Flip the mast over and do the other side. After you've put the mast cap back onto the top of the mast, the umbrella should be ready for use.